Hello, everyone. Jesse Webb, TradersPro. Happy Black Friday and happy Thanksgiving. Hope you all had a fantastic day with loved ones yesterday, and that continues this weekend. Market conditions, the markets are closed yesterday and they close early today at 1 o'clock Eastern time. I would imagine it'll be a relatively quiet day today, but let's take a look at overall conditions. Still in our bullish market, in a bullish market conditions in a bull market, working towards the upper end of that range. Again, nothing will have changed from yesterday, so we're sitting right at the same locations, upper end of that momentum range, and also breadth and sentiment also looking solid. Everything's still looking solid. We're just at this upper edge of the trend. We started out down here in the couple weeks, 3-4 weeks ago, market lows in October, now approaching those overall market highs right here at these ranges. Buy-sell ratio also solid, still constructively bullish here at that 2.61, and so nice market conditions going into December, other than the fact that we are a little bit extreme to the upside. So let's look at S&P 500 on that and look at some of the ranges. So we're sitting in, this is the most recent high as of this last summer in August, sitting up there at that 459-ish type range, and you can see a couple of indecision bars right here. Indecision bars looking like this, where you get the high and the low and the open and close, essentially something like that. And that's not that's not unexpected for this week. Typically get some indecision or just quiet moves happening, and so we'll see what today ends up looking like as well. But again, we're at the upper end of this range, and let's look at this a little bit longer time frame. I'm going to actually pull volume off of here as well, so we get just a little bit better picture of that low, and we can see this overall range that we've been dealing with. The bounce, the move higher, our 236 momentum zone still sitting up here at this range, and could certainly use a retracement or a pullback. Nothing extreme, but maybe something like this, just enough of a pullback to create a new support area and some new demand to come back into the market at these levels. Overall market indices are all looking good right here, still uptrends and signals in this overall up range right here. Also, sectors are looking solid. If we look at the sectors ETFs, we're seeing those. Last one, there's just that energy, and that one's also fairly close. We've looked at this the last couple of days, and it had a pretty significant bounce the last few days, and it's based on oil, what oil is doing, but you can see that overall support zone at that 618 buy zone inside of that 50618 is just creating that range, and it's just a little bit of a tug of war happening now inside of this range. Here's our prior resistance area, and this is now being this is now the fight that's happening in the overall sector. If we look at USO oil, and we're seeing that real similar type price pattern right here. So a decent down day on both of those the last couple of days, but it actually gapped lower and then traded higher, and again inside of that support zone. So this is actually a really bullish chart pattern for oil, especially if we can rally and get back up above one of these high points. Could see a nice rally in oil. And not necessarily that we want that, but it is certainly at a location that we could see some support versus the S&P 500, which is now towards the upper end of that range. One thing that I've mentioned before to keep your eye on is if you go to the market trends area and you look at the sentiment, looking at those extremes. If you look at crude oil, you can see it's down towards the bottom end of that range. So it's now making an equal low with price, but the sentiment indicator is creating a little bit of a divergence at this low, and this is the range where we typically get some kind of a move back to the other direction. Just like on S&P 500, we're towards the upper end of that range. So utilizing this sentiment, particularly for major market indices and a couple of commodities like gold and oil, these are great locations to look for those edges when you get to an extreme, either top or bottom. A few muscle stocks to look at today. These are actually really good looking patterns. TCRX, which is a medical biotech stock, has had a real big run here from 2 all the way to 5. And this was a big move, a 25% move, all the way back into that 382 support zone. And then it actually traded lower than that, almost to the 50%, and then had a really hard rally back to the upside. Let's look at volume on that as well and see This volume bar here is kind of skewing things, but it was increased volume as well. So that's what we want to see, is we want to see a bounce off of the upper support zone in a chart pattern that's moving this direction. And so an interesting opportunity on TCRX. A couple others that are actually looking pretty good here. COCO, which is not quite back to that upper momentum zone. That 6-month time frame is in a downtrend. The 1-year time frame looks a lot better, though. You can kind of see this is a little bit cleaner perspective of the overall uptrend, the retracement, the bounce, and now inside of that support zone. COCO, we'll watch to see if there's any continuation on that. A decent chart pattern. There were a couple of other. This was the best looking chart I felt like today. IMGN, which has got this uptrend. This is the long term 1-year time frame back into that 50% retracement and now curled back up. So this is what we want to see. We want to see that curling back up after a support zone. Now it's holding this next support zone with a retest and a confirmation bar. So if I zoom into that and we take a look at that on a 6-month time frame, a little bit cleaner, still in that downtrend, but this support area where we have the uptrend, the retracement, and then a confirmation bar. Interesting trade. We're starting to see some of these medical and biotech stocks. They've been really hot for the last 12 months, but you've got some that really got beat up during this downturn. Even after a big run up like some of these, now they're starting to come back to life again. That'll do it for today's update. If you don't have full access to the site and software, you can learn more at the link below, and we look forward to having you have a fantastic day today.